So I have used a lot of agentic development environments. For example, this is the Codex desktop app, which you can see over here. You have project on the left, you have your sessions, and you have your panel where you can actually start chatting with your agents. You have Cursor, which is basically the exact same user experience. You have Claude Desktop. You have T3 Code. I have that installed as well. They're all basically the same user experience. And for the most part, this works great. But for me and my workflows, I often have to jump between a lot of different projects. And there's something about this approach to how to manage your workflows just doesn't really work for me. So what I ended up doing is building my own mission control agentic development environment, which you might have seen me building a couple of times on my channel. But I decided to just go ahead and make this live. There is a free version to this, so if you guys want to check it out, we can go here and just turn this on live mode now. And now mission control is live. You can actually go here and download it. And I have Electron builds for Mac. I also have Electron builds for Windows, which I've tried to test a little bit. I think there's also a build for Linux as well, which I have not tested. So again, this is my first release. So if you do find bugs, reach out to me on either the community Discord. So there's a Discord here you can join to basically talk about agentic coding and also just point out bugs you might find, or try to shape the direction of mission control in the future if you want to have it be more fitted for your needs. Now I am just going to go ahead and run this real quick. I'll download the Mac version. We can get that installed. All right, go ahead and install mission control and I'll replace what I have now. And then I will just go ahead and load it up. All right, so this is the mission control application I've been working on. I'm going to give you a complete walkthrough. And again, you can download this for free and get up to 2 projects before you have to upgrade to the mission control pro version, which I have a license key you'll get if you do buy it. But overall, I have a centralized place for all my different projects, right? So for example, if I want to go and modify something on my web dev Cody site, I can just go load that up, spin up a new session, load up Claude Code, and now I can start prompting it to add in features to my web dev Cody website. I also support different CLI tools like Codex and Cursor. I plan to add more like OpenCode or maybe AMP in the future, but those are the main 3 things that I've used, and I don't find a good reason to kind of use anything else. But I will add them in. If you join the Discord, we can have a discussion about it. I do want to support as many CLI tools as we can. But to kind of show you how this works, I'm going to go ahead and just add a little about link in the header. I'll just say, please add an about route and link in the header. And I'll just go ahead and kick that one off. And now you'll see that this agent is actually running. I'll go ahead and clear out these other terminals as well. You can zoom in and zoom out, of course. Like if this is too small, you can zoom in. And while this is running, I'll also show you I had different themes. I did add in a more minimalistic theme. People were kind of complaining about the other theme. A lot of people liked it, but some people were complaining about it. So I did add in a more generic minimalistic theme if that's something that you want to use. And when these finish, you can actually go and click on these to go straight to the session when it's fully done. Now I built mission control specifically for my workflow. So when this terminal is done running, often what I want to do is go check out the code. So I can go over here and click on 4 changes. I can go and look at the git diff over here. I can review the code. I can accept it all. And then I can just go ahead and kick it off to get that deployed out. You can also click this ship button, which does a commit and a push. And then these changes will eventually get deployed out to my actual production webdevcody.com site, which I'll probably see in a second. But additionally, you can run this locally, right? So if I wanted to run this locally, I could just go and click on this plus command. And all that does is run a custom run command. So inside of configure launch commands, I said run and then npm run dev. So when I click on that run button, you can run up to 5 different commands, all in different terminals down at the bottom. And now I can go and open this and view this project. And now on the top, we have that about link, and we also have an about route. Okay, and that's going to get deployed out to production here in a second. I can stop it. I can go back to my other projects. I can spin this one up as well. If I were to configure some launch commands, that would load up. But it's a way for me to quickly switch between projects, launch them up, make some changes, review the changes, get them all merged in, and get them deployed out. And I would say this has made my agentic development experience much better than any of these other tools that I've been using. So all this is fine, but you might ask, like, where's the file editor? How do I modify files? And my response to that is we should stop editing files. There's no point to editing files when these agents can do it much faster and more efficient and also more accurately than you can most of the time. Okay. Now there are times where I do want to edit files. Like for example, if I need to go and add some to-do items here, I could say like another to-do item, and I could save this one. But overall, I found that I don't need to edit files as much anymore, because even that process of editing a to-do file, I could have just said, hey, like add a to-do inside of to-do.md to fix the header. Something like that. And even in that scenario, I'd recommend just saying, make a skill, right? Make a skill that you can actually just have it automatically modify a to-do MD file and store that information in that to-do for you. So again, I'm optimizing for my workflows, and I found that I don't even touch code anymore. These agents can do all the work for you, and I would highly leverage the agents to kind of do it. I also have like a tree view in the git diff. Someone asked for that. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff here. If you guys are interested, go check out Mission Control. Again, please let me know if you run into bugs. I want to make this actually like a really polished application. So go to agentsystem.dev. and you can go and download it for free. I will say that if you do want to upgrade to Pro, it is $79, and at some point I will raise this in the future. But $79 gives you access to basically the exact same application, but as many projects as you want. Right now, it's limited to 2 projects if you're on Mission Control Lite. But once you upgrade, you will get the license key. You can put that in your settings over here, and then that will give you unlimited projects that you can actually start using at your work or at your side projects or whatever. Now, again, why did I build this? Because if you have been doing agentic coding for a while, you'll know that if you're doing something like Ghostly, where you have a bunch of these different terminals opened up, it's just very overwhelming. You don't know what terminal is doing what. You have no idea where stuff is running, what's running. It's just an unorganized mess. Like even Cursor and Codex, I have issues with how they work as well, and they just weren't working for my workflows. I will say that I do plan to add in more features, and the one thing I'm trying to think about how to add in nicely is work trees. I have been on the fence about using work trees for side projects and smaller projects. I rather just do all the work on main, and then I do a commit skill that basically chunks up the commit into smaller commit messages and commits those all up. So I found that even using work trees isn't as necessary unless you're doing like a large scale refactoring. Then having a work tree that kind of kick that off in is kind of useful. So I had to figure out how to add in work trees to Mission Control to make it more seamless and efficient for my workflows, but I will add that soon. Now, I will say this is not my first rodeo at making agentic development tools. We made automaker.app last year, which is a desktop app to basically fully autonomously build out applications. It has a Kanban board. You load it up with a bunch of backlog items, and then you basically just run it, let it run all night. You come back and your app is basically fully built. But even this workflow, you know, Claude and Anthropic are kind of cutting off these agent SDK tools and making them more expensive. And this isn't even the workflow I do in my day-to-day, right? This is something that I actually do in my day-to-day, which is interacting with these harnesses, these Claude Code, Codex harnesses, and actually just reviewing code real quick and get it shipped to whatever branch that I'm on. All right, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoy. Go check out agentsystem.dev if you want to download and play around with Mission Control, or if you want to buy Pro now while it is still discounted. That's something that you should probably do. Again, no pressure. This is also just going to go to me to support me with my channel and my endeavors. So if that's something you want to do just to support me, you can do that as well. Other than that, yeah, have a good day. Happy coding.